Today we are looking at searching, looking for things, because it would appear that a lot of people have been searching, generally searching. So if you look for something, you can look for something generally, or you can look for something specific. General means a general subject, something that is not located in one place, or maybe something that refers to more than one thing. General. However, you might look for something that is specific. A specific thing is one certain item or one certain thing, a certain subject, for example. We can say that that thing is specific. You are looking for one thing. And that is quite often the reason why people search. They might search the internet. They might go to the local library. So when you search for something, you can search for one particular thing, or maybe you search for something generally. For example, you might be looking for someone to teach English, or maybe you're looking for someone who can help you improve your English. So you might search for English teacher on YouTube or on the internet, and then you will get some results. You will get some answers. Quite often when you look for something, you might seek something. You search for something. You look for something. You might hunt something. Now that might seem like a very strange word to use, the word hunt. But if you are looking for something, searching for something, we can also use the word hunt as well. I know it sounds very aggressive and wild if you are hunting for something. Quite often we use the word hunt if we are desperate for information. Maybe you need something in a hurry or something urgently. You will say that you will hunt that thing down, or you will look for it. You hunt for something. Maybe you try to track down something. So you are following information. When we say that you track down something, we are saying that you are following for a certain type of thing. You are looking for something. You are using information to lead you on a certain path. So maybe you track down something. So of course, most of these things can be used figuratively or literally. So you can literally seek something. You can look for something literally by walking around. You can hunt something. Of course, you might be looking for something that you've lost. You hunt something. Maybe you are chasing a wild animal through a forest. You are hunting for that particular thing. To track down something, again, you are following information or maybe clues to find a particular thing. Then we have research. Quite often if you are studying something or if you are looking for information concerning a certain thing, then you will research that thing. I always find the word research quite interesting because you are looking at something that you've looked at before. However, I always think that research quite often is when you are looking for something that you've never looked at before. So you are going deeper into a certain subject. You are looking closely at a certain subject or a certain field. You try to find out something. So maybe you try to find out some information. You find out about a certain thing. You might already have some information about a certain subject, but you want to learn more about it. So you decide to go deeper into that subject. You want to know more about that subject. You need more information. So you will go deeper into that subject. It is common nowadays for us to look on the internet to search for things generally, but sometimes you might want to find out more about a certain subject. You want to go deeper into that subject. Another word, and perhaps this is a new word for you, the word delve. Delve means to go deep into something. You delve into it. Imagine your hands going into something, trying to find something or search for something. You delve into something. So I suppose you could use that literally or figuratively. So if you want to find out more about a certain subject, you will delve into that subject. And of course, you can dig. We often use this word figuratively if you are digging for information. So this doesn't mean that you are actually digging a hole. It means you are just looking, you are searching. Maybe you have to search for a very long time. You have to look very carefully or closely for something. You dig into a certain subject. You go deep into that subject. And it can happen quite often, especially when you are searching on the internet. You can start off in one place looking for something, and then suddenly you are somewhere else and you are finding out new things about that particular subject. So it is possible for that to happen. A point of reference is often needed so as to correctly find what you are looking for. So normally, when we are searching for something, there has to be a point of reference, something to help us find what we're looking for. And that is the reason why whenever you search for something, the first thing you have to do is put in a point of reference, whatever it is. It can be anything really, maybe a word, a phrase, a place, an object. Quite often we will look at these points of reference in different ways. For example, an object is something that exists, or maybe something that is a fact. So the object would be something that exists, maybe a piece of information, a certain fact. And then of course we might have a certain subject, which of course can be a type of topic. So topics can be anything. I'm sure you can think of at least 5 topics straight away that you could search for. English, learning English, how to learn English, where to go on the internet if you want to learn English. So there are many types of topic. Maybe you want to look at other people's opinions of certain things. So topics are normally referred to as subjects, a certain thing that people are discussing. Science, art, music, politics. No, don't worry. I'm staying well away from that. And of course you might have a point as well. You might look for a certain opinion or a certain statement. So something that a person has said or something that a person has written about. It can also be an article as well. So a lot of people like to read what other people think. I remember many years ago, when the blog was the main thing that people did. Before videos and before podcasts, there was the written blog that a lot of people would do. I know some people still do it, but these days people like to watch videos or listen to a person talking rather than just read endless paragraphs of text. So you might find that certain statements, certain opinions, especially here on YouTube, because if there is one thing I've noticed over the past few years being here on YouTube, more and more people are willing to express their opinions about things. We often use searches. For example, a category search will make looking for something much easier. Again, as I mentioned a few moments ago, there are many different categories. So when we talk about categories, we are talking about groups of subjects, information that relates to one particular thing or one particular subject. Maybe the subject or the category could be places, maybe a place you want to visit. Maybe you want to get some information about a certain place before you visit that place. One of the wonderful things I love about using the internet nowadays is before you travel to a certain place, you can find out all about that location. Not only that, you can also go there virtually by using Google. So you can go to the actual place, even though you are not there physically. You can actually walk around. You can look around using online software such as Google Earth. It's very useful. It's a very good way of familiarizing yourself with a certain place before you go there. So that is something I use quite often now if I'm about to travel to a place I don't know. In fact, I used it a few weeks ago before I went to Italy. So that's the reason why when I arrived in Italy, I was able to find my way around, especially in Rome. It was very easy getting around because I had already been there on Google Street Maps. So I knew the directions. I knew where to go to get to certain places. So I have to say, it is very useful searching for information. It is amazing what you can find out. Maybe the relevance of something. How important is that information? So you might say that there are things that you need to know, there are things that you must know, and there are things that you don't really need to know. So how important is a particular subject? What do you need to know? For example, if you are starting to learn English, you will need to know the most important things to remember. So the relevance of something is the importance of it. The deeper you explore a subject, the more information you must absorb. And this is true. So when you start looking for information, you might find that you need to absorb more and more stuff. It's quite exhausting, to be honest. It is quite exhausting. Sometimes a simple search might lead you down a rabbit hole. And this is an expression that a lot of people use nowadays. They often say that when they look for something on the internet, they eventually go down a rabbit hole, which of course is a reference to Alice in Wonderland, where Alice goes down the rabbit hole. She follows the white rabbit and then ends up in a very strange place. So that is what that particular phrase means. If you go down a rabbit hole on the internet, it means you start searching for something and then eventually you end up going down a very deep hole. Quite often you find things that you were not expecting, or maybe things that are unusual or strange. So it is possible to go down a rabbit hole as you go deeper and deeper into a certain subject or topic. You get deeper and deeper into that subject. We often describe it as going down a rabbit hole. It's a great expression. Popular searches for topics include people. When we say people, of course, we mean famous people. Quite often, celebrities. You want to find out the latest news about your favourite celebrity. No, not me. I'm not talking about me. Events. Things that are going to happen. Things that are coming up. Maybe a concert. Maybe you want to find out where your favourite singer will be performing next. Maybe you want to go to a show. Maybe you want to see something. You might want to plan a trip somewhere. You want to find out when something is happening so you can go there. Nature. I think the internet is a brilliant place for finding out information about the world around us, including nature. Maybe you are thinking of taking up a new hobby. Maybe there is something that you've always wanted to try and do. You can find out what you need to do that particular thing. You can find the information simply by searching for it. Trivia. Now here is an interesting word that we often use when we are talking about facts that are unimportant but are still interesting. So a certain type of information or a piece of information that is not important but it is interesting. A little piece of information about a certain thing might not be important but it can be interesting to know. And of course, news, the big thing that everyone searches for. A lot of people use the internet nowadays to find out about what is happening in the world, what is happening in certain places, maybe overseas or in your own country. So the news. And of course, when we talk about news, we are also talking about current events. Things that are happening right now are often referred to as current events. These days it is hard to judge what information is reliable and what is false. That is the big one. The thing that a lot of people worry about these days is how accurate is the information. When you read something on the internet, how true is it? Even if that information comes up when you search for it, is it reliable? Is it trustworthy? Can you believe it? I often search for people. If I watch an old movie, maybe I watch an old movie from 50, 60 years ago, sometimes I become interested with the people who are in the movie. And so I might go on the internet to find out if that person did anything else. Maybe they appeared in other movies. And of course, the most important one, are they still alive? So I do find that quite interesting. I can spend a long time searching for people who've appeared in movies that I've watched. And I always find it interesting to search for them and to find out what they've done, how old they are now, and of course if they are still alive, if they are still with us. So I think these days a lot of people do search the internet, even though I think there is a lot of distrust these days amongst people. People don't tend to trust what they see or read as much as they used to. Popular sources of information. Well, we often think of the internet. You might have a web search engine. Google is probably the most popular of all of them. And of course, Google are the owners of this, the thing you are watching now. So my face is flickering on a website owned by Google. So however you get your information, however you receive your information, however it is received by you, or of course, however it is given, sometimes it is better to try and verify the information to make sure that it is true and real.